back to the Extra Lab podcast. Today we're greatly fortunate enough to have with us Ali Ince. Ali, how are you today?
I'm doing great.
Ali, you're an Oregon commit. Congratulations on that. So what is it like to just be part of you're gonna join such a great culture there?
I'm super excited to join the Oregon team. I think one of the main reasons that I decided on Oregon was just the depth that the team had. Right now, their middle distance group is just running crazy. They had a lot of people at indoor nationals, and I am sure that they're going to be at outdoor nationals as well. And so, just to get to be with those girls and train with them, they have so many people that can crush a 1500, and then also those same girls are able to crush an 800. So to be able to join that training group and just have those girls by my side, I think that was really one of the main reasons that I chose Oregon, is because I knew that I would constantly be pushed to the best of my abilities, which that's ultimately how you're going to get to be good as a runner. So yeah, I'm super excited to get to join those girls.
Yeah, and for Oregon, I mean, they always bring in great recruits like yourself, but I mean, transfer portal wise too, they're bringing in a lot of great middle distance runners, so it must just be wicked exciting. Is there like a certain part of that you're looking most forward to, or?
Yeah, I think right now, like in high school, all my trainings either by myself or with the guys team. And so I think there's something special of getting to work out with girls. I haven't gotten to experience that yet, so I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, with the transfer portal, that's definitely a new thing. And it's a little weird how, maybe one season you're gonna have a teammate by you, and then the next season you might be competing against them. And I feel like you hope that's not the case, but it's, I think, worked in Oregon's favor because they've gotten a lot of really good distance runners from it. So I think that'll be exciting, and it'll only benefit the team even more.
Yeah, and in your recruitment process, when did Oregon just feel like the home for you?
hmm Yeah, coming down to like the wire of making the decision, it definitely was really tough because there were so many good options on the table. You really couldn't go wrong. And at the end of the day, it was between Texas and Oregon, and I was just really thinking hard about it. And Oregon's kind of always been my kind of dream school. When I was young and in seventh grade and in middle school, I would watch like Oregon, what I eat in a day, or Oregon athlete day in the life, and I was just like enamored by it, and I was like, that would be so cool to get to have that experience. And so I think when it came to making that decision, I had to take myself up on that dream that I had in middle school. And yeah, so I had had this kind of dream to go to Oregon and never really thought as a young child that it would really be possible. So then once, Shalane Flanagan reached out to me and I really had the opportunity to be an Oregon Duck, I just kind of had to take myself up on that dream. And that's kind of the moment that I realized I wanted to I'd be a duck.
Yeah, and those infamous Oregon videos, like you're saying about the Oregon what I eat in a day. I was
Uh-huh.
remember seeing the Oregon like training facilities, and I swear they have every single like thing that you could want. Is there anything like you're looking forward to individually out of like their resources?
Yeah. I think we kind of were joking on my official visit there when we got to see Hayward Field and just all the resources that they have for their athletes, that Oregon's kind of the no excuse university because you have all of the resources at your fingertips. You're gonna have the best, trainers, best coaches, best facilities. I mean, Hayward is just amazing. And so I think they really do an amazing job of giving their athletes everything that they would possibly need to succeed. And then it's just our job to put in the work and, be disciplined and use those resources to make us the best we can be. So yeah, I'm super excited to get to call Hayward home and for that to be, our home track. But I think more importantly, the resources are and the facilities are really nice, but at the end of the day, they don't really mean much if you don't have like a good group of people to spend time with at those facilities. So, not only are the facilities great, but so are the people that are at Oregon. So, those two put together, I think it's a pretty unbeatable match.
Yeah, and if I'm not wrong, doesn't Oregon have like a barber shop or something in Hayward Field? I mean, like
Yeah.
Pretty crazy to think.
They do. You can get your hair done and your nails done, which is crazy. I don't know how often they get them done, but yeah, that's just next level. It's crazy.
I know, I feel like anything that you can imagine they have, I mean, literally anything, and it's pretty crazy, like, the whole setup of the arena's like, I don't know, it's just even for sound and fans, it's like an arena, it's awesome, but
Yeah.
I gotta ask, are you aware of Quactavius, the infamous Oregon Duck?
Yes, I am. I think Annika, who I think you've done a podcast with before, she posted Quactavius on her story one of the days, and I was like, "Wow, this is cool. This is a real live duck." And so, yeah, I'm following Quactavius now. So I'm excited. Hopefully, I'll get to meet him once I step in Eugene.
Yeah, I mean, looking at like the Oregon Media Days and everything, and Quactavius shows up. Shout out Quactavius, he follows the podcast. Don't, I mean, it was like the most random moment, but it was a good one. But like, I don't know, it just seems to be like such an exciting thing to be an Oregon athlete and something great to be part of. So good.
For sure.
But Ali, you're coming off your season opener, or well, your big season opener at Arcadia. Tell me about
Mhm.
that. How was that?
Yeah, Arcadia is always such an awesome meet, and I think it's just a really fun one to open your season up with. I've opened my outdoor season with an 800 at Arcadia since sophomore year, and so it's been cool to see how, I've progressed over the years. And this year going into it, I knew that there was going to be some good competition. There were some girls that had run 206, and so I just wanted to go into the race and take it out strong, which I did. I was 59 through the 400, which was good. I sometimes struggle to get under the 1 minute barrier and kind of am stuck at like one flat 101 through the 400. So it was definitely good to get under that. And then coming through 600, I was at 130 and looking good. Ideally, I wanted to be like 202 at Arcadia this year. And then the last 200 just kind of fell apart and the body went lactic there and the 200 wasn't too strong. So ended up with 205. But overall, I was really happy with the effort that I gave. I think going through 600 was really strong. And so now, just with that being the season opener, I know that now at practice, I'm just gonna have to work on that last 200 and get a little stronger. That way I can close because I know I'm there for 600 of the race, but gotta just get 200 more meters in.
Yeah, and you said that, it was filled with great competition this year. If I'm not wrong, you won it last year, correct? Right?
Last year I did not. I led the entire thing, probably 799 meters, and then right at the end, I got beat by like 100th of a second. Yeah, I should have leaned to the line, but yeah, I got beat by. It was super, super close. It was hard to tell, but yeah,
Not
so
this,
that definitely,
not this year. You got it this.
yeah, that was definitely in the back of my mind this year. I was like, you have to run all the way through the tape because someone can always be there.
So what did it mean then, like finishing this year and just capping it off with the win at Arcadia?
Yeah, I think Arcadia is just such a, nationwide like meet. Everyone kind of knows what Arcadia is, and it kind of represents, I feel like, what track and field is because there's so many people that come there from different states and everyone there is really excited about running. And so just to win such a prestigious meet is honestly just such an honor. And I think that's one that you'll look back on after, you know, your years of running and be really proud of.
Mhm. And moving more towards New Balance Nationals, Big U champion, right? So what went into that? I mean, that's just a huge moment. What was the feelings? Actually, we'll start with what went into it first.
Yeah. So indoor season is always a little different for me because I also play basketball for my school. And so that always overlaps with training for indoor season. And so this year I definitely did a lot more training than I have in years past because of basketball. Sophomore year, I didn't really do too much training, and then junior year definitely stepped it up a little bit. But this year, being the senior year, I really wanted to see what would happen if I, was doing full workouts and was on a pretty hard training schedule, leading up to indoor nationals. And so I would get up before school, do some workouts, and then after school, I'd have basketball practice. But I think that's really what saw. I think I ran 204 my sophomore year at New Balance Nationals, and then this year 203. So I think that extra training in there, and just being a little bit more focused is what allowed me to improve by 1 second. And this year I've also senior year been focusing a lot more on lifting and kind of strength. And so I could definitely feel that. The 203 at New Balance definitely felt different. It didn't feel as much as like a sprint. I have ran 203 previously, and this time around it definitely felt a little bit more controlled and I felt a lot more strong. And so that's just really exciting because then hopefully we can just get even faster now that we have a little bit more strength.
Yeah, and you said you played basketball. What position?
Kind of shooting guard, point guard. Our team's a little different where we don't really have like a true post player. We kind of all are just my height and size, and so we kind of do some 5 out, and we all kind of just play all the positions.
Motion offense or?
Yeah, we do a little bit of motion offense, but other than that, I think our bread and butter is just kind of get the ball and run and try to beat the other team down the court. So a lot of pitch ahead layups, that's for sure.
Yeah, who would you say you would who would you compare yourself to like a NBA or a WNBA player comp?
Oh gosh, I don't watch much NBA or WNBA, but I'm trying to think. If we're talking like college basketball, I've been watching a lot of Iowa, and I really like the way that Gabby Thomas plays.
Gabby
She
Thomas, yep.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I somewhat represent her as a player. She has some stellar lockdown defense, and I think that's kind of me. I don't really get tired on the court, so coach kind of just chucks me in there for most of the game and puts me on, the other team's best player most of the time, and so I just kind of am on them and am supposed to guard them. So, yeah, Gabby Thomas has some pretty good defense. She gets a lot of steals.
Yeah, Gabby Thomas is like I always feel bad because she's just so talented and so good, and I feel like she's always in the shadow of Caitlin Clark. But I don't know, she's a bucket for sure. But
Yeah, for sure.
if I can ask, how tall are you?
I'm 5'10".
Okay,
So yeah, decently
and a
pretty high.
sharpshooter.
What'd you say?
Are you and you're a sharpshooter?
Yeah, I can knock down some threes.
Yeah. Well, another thing too is you're sponsored by New Balance. So how does that like come to be your work?
hmm Yeah, I am just so grateful for the opportunity to be in partnership with New Balance because they really do represent everything that, I look for in, a partner because they just look at athletes as more than just, an athlete, but a well-rounded person. And so I've been going to the New Balance meet since sophomore year and developed a good relationship with a lot of people that are involved with New Balance. And so to get to be able to partner with them really was such an awesome opportunity that I'm really grateful for, and I'm hoping it can continue for the years down the road because it's really been great to get to know them and create that partnership.
Yeah, as I had Drew Griffith on with actually Danny Simmons, who are both New Balance people, and I mean,
Mhm.
at least in Drew's background, I think he owns everything he owns is New Balance. So how much gear would you say you get from them?
Oh gosh, quite a lot, quite a lot. I have so many pairs of shoes, which it's been really neat getting to learn about the different pairs. I mean, before the partnership with them, I just ran in the same pair of shoes for, my recovery runs, my long runs, and my workouts. And now that I get shoes sent to me, all different types, it's been cool to learn about the different shoes and what their purpose is. And I now have a shoe rotation, which I never really knew that you needed. And so yeah, it's been really cool just to get to try the different gear and get it sent to us and kind of represent the New Balance logo through all that gear. So yeah, definitely a lot of shoes. I enjoy getting to match, all my outfits with a new color of shoe each day. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, and would you say like your shoe game's pretty good after New Balance between New Balance and like just all around?
Yeah, I mean, I'm rocking the New Balance, so I would say it's pretty good. I really like the 550s. I think I have the 550s in like 7 or 8 colors, so I usually just pair that with, one of my outfits depending on what color I'm wearing.
Yeah, and for a race like New Balance, like obviously they have pace lights going around the track with you. So is it weird running with pace lights or?
hmm Yeah, the pace lights, I think as like an audience and like as someone watching the track meet, you definitely can. point them out and it's very obvious that they're there. But if I'm being completely honest, when I'm running, like I've had pace lights at New Balance Nationals the past 2 years, I haven't really noticed them that much. And I know this year they got a little bit messed up during the race. They were like ahead of me for a little bit and then they completely stopped and then they caught back up. And so I didn't really notice it was there at all. But I can imagine in like a 5K race where you have to be like on the splits very exact and you can kind of look around a little bit more. You would probably notice them a little bit more, but in the 800 when you're just trying to go really fast and honestly it's becoming more of a sprint event in my opinion,
Mhm.
I didn't notice it that much.
Yeah, what was the feeling crossing the line in 800 to win the national championship?
Hmm. Yeah, that was just such a fun race. I think I like the 800 indoors because I feel like it's really easy to just break it down. It's 4 laps, each one's a 200. You can get your splits pretty accurate. And crossing the line, it was a really good feeling just because I had put in a lot more work this season. With playing basketball, I really put an emphasis on training more. And so to just see 203, which is kind of where I ended outdoor season last year, to see that I was there again starting indoor season was just kind of a really good feeling to know that my fitness was still there. And just to, win New Balance Nationals is pretty cool. Not every day you get to win a national title, and it was against just a great field of athletes. So it was just a really good meet and race to be a part of.
Yeah, and moving towards the outdoor season, do you have any goals in particular or?
Yeah, I think now I just after racing Arcadia will be racing with my high school for the next month or so and we have a few just school meets and then we'll have our state meet and so at the state meet I think I'm not totally sure what I'm going to run yet but it'll definitely be 3 or 4 events because I think our team has a chance of placing so yeah, it'll be exciting to get to race multiple events at the state meet. And then after state, I will be running a lot of competitive 800s. I'll be at Brooks PR again. And then also am gonna do the Hoka Festival of Miles most likely. And so yeah, we'll get at least a good fast mile in and a good fast 800. So ideally I'd really like to get under 203. I haven't been able to. I ran 203 as a freshman and then last year 203 again. So it'd be really nice to get under 203. I have had this piece of paper on my wall since uh I think sophomore year and it says 202 and 439 and I got to cross 439 off the poster already this year because I raced it during Grand Prix. And so I'm hoping to get to cross off the 202 as well.
Yeah, and Hoka's like, I mean, watching the videos, mostly for the mile, it's awesome. I mean, they have a DJ just randomly in like the center of the field, just like absolutely blaring music. So that's gonna be a really, really fun race. But like
For sure.
as an 800 runner, how do you look at like going up to the mile?
Hmm. Yeah, I think as an 800 runner, it's you can either look at it as 2 ways, like you're an 815 runner, you're an 84 runner, and I think something unique about me is that I kind of do all three. I definitely ran lots of fours in my career as a high schooler, and I've also ran a lot of miles, and so I enjoy going up to the mile. I think this year I have found more joy in it than I have in past, just because I think I have a stronger base this year and it feels a little more relaxed the first 2 laps. But yeah, that Grand Prix mile was super fun. Also great field. And so yeah, I'm really looking forward to racing the mile a little bit more this year and hoping to maybe even get that time a little bit down from 439. But yeah, I think the miles just really you need it for the 800 to get that strength side and then that way the 800 can feel really quick when you get to it.
Yeah, and just looking at like 800 and coming off New Balance running 203, you got to feel pretty optimistic about that 202 goal, right?
Yeah, I'm feeling really optimistic. I think my workouts have been a lot faster than they have in the past. We tend to do the same workouts year after year, but just kind of up the reps and increase the paces that we run them at. And so I've been able to hit faster paces with less rest in between this year. So yeah, I'm feeling super good
Mhm.
about where my fitness is at. And I think, the right racing situation, I'll get on the track and feel good. I think 202 is definitely there.
Yeah, and looking at like your resume of just the meets you've gone to with New Balance, Brooks, you're gonna Hoka this year, Arcadia. What would you say like the best experiences out of those meets?
Oh, that's a good question. I think, yeah, the best experience out of all those meets, I would say, is definitely the competition. Something like it's really special when you put a ton of athletes on the track who are all, super competitive, who all work super hard and who all like love the sport of running and have put, a lot of their life into the sport. And so when you put like all those factors onto the track, it can create something really special, which you almost always get at the national meets because there's such great competition. And so, yeah, one of the best things I love about those meets is just on the starting line that you're gonna have a good race, that you're gonna race fast because there's just so many talented athletes around you that are gonna kind of hold you accountable to running a fast time.
Yeah. And as you get ready to go on the line, as you warm up, music or no music?
I'm not a music person. Yeah, I think it's just kind of because I don't like running with my phone and I would have to if I'm gonna run with like AirPods or something. But
Mhm.
yeah, I've never really raced with mu playing music before. Never been a music person.
Yeah, it's so weird because the question always was, what song are you listening to? And it's now slowly become more and more music or no music.
Hmm.
It's like, do you feel like you can just lock in more or?
Yeah, yeah. But when I go on my like warm up jog, I envision the race and kind of how I want to play out. And so I really am focused on doing that and not in listening to music.
Yeah, and in your like season as you go along, how do you not like sweat the earlier races?
Hmm. Yeah, I think definitely I could have sweated the Arcadia race because I ran 203 at Arcadia last year and then this year was 205. So I think it would have been easy to look at it and be like, oh, I'm 2 seconds slower this year. I have a good season? But every race is different. The, conditions are different. You can't really, you know, look at each race and compare it to any others. You just kind of got to take them one at a time. And so I think it's important to just think about how your body feels and how you feel in workouts and how you feel during the race. And I felt really good during the Arcadia race, even though it was a 205. And so I think I know that a fast time is bound to happen eventually. And so, yeah, don't sweat the, you know, the races that maybe are just a little slower than you would have liked them because eventually you're going to get there if you keep putting the training in and just keep being disciplined.
Yeah, and Elliot, I just gotta ask, New Balance Nationals 800 for men's and women's. Illinois takes it both. I mean, that's kind of just,
Mhm.
I don't know Patrick Kilby, but that's kind of crazy. Like, what's going on in Illinois?
Yeah, it's been really cool to get to, kind of go to the same meets with Patrick. Yeah, got the 1-1 at New Balance and then also at Arcadia. And I think it's a really, really great state for running. There's so many amazing distance runners. At cross country, you see some people running some really, really fast times at Detweiler. And yeah, I think that's why partially times are getting so fast these days is because people are just, running so much faster and you got to step your game up if you want to be competitive. And so having, Patrick, I mean, I know we aren't really racing against each other because, you know, but yeah, people are just racing so fast and it's cool to get to do that alongside someone else from the same state.
Yeah, I mean, I just gotta ask this from like my own experiences. I've called it Illinois my whole life until I've been corrected. Is it Illinois or Illinois? This is like a really stupid question, I know, but I have to ask.
I think anyone who lives in Illinois says Illinois, but I've heard other people say Illinois, but I would never say Illinois. So I don't know that correct. I'm pretty sure it's Illinois, but I've heard people say Illinois before.
All right, I had to make sure. My dad always has made fun of me, so that was that was just like a basic question I had to ask. I was gonna ask Patrick, but forgot to do that. But all right,
Yeah, I mean it's spelled weird. Yeah, I mean you would think it would be Illinois by the way it's spelled.
yeah. And Ali, when you're not running, what would you say you're up to?
Oh, yeah. A lot of my life is spent running, but if not, it definitely would be playing basketball. That took up a lot of time too. But if it's like completely not sport related, I really love baking and cooking and trying new recipes. I Breakfast is my favorite, and so I'm always cooking something up in the kitchen for breakfast. And then other than that, I love being like active, going on bike rides, hiking. My family goes to Arizona every year for spring break and we hike every morning there. And so I'm just a big person for adventure and up for anything outdoors. So that's why I'm also really excited to go to Oregon because it's a beautiful state and there's so many pretty trails to hike and run at, and the coast is just beautiful. You have mountains into the ocean. So I'm super looking forward to that.
Yeah, do you have like a go-to dish? Or
A go-to dish. Oh gosh, yes, for breakfast. I love making avocado toast with eggs on top. That's probably one of the go-tos. Also some good bowls of oatmeal.
Mhm,
I usually do like banana oatmeal with peanut butter.
mhm.
So, yeah, breakfast is definitely my favorite.
Is there Dunkin' Donuts in Illinois?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, we got a Dunkin' Donut. I don't know. I've maybe gone to Dunkin' once or twice. I'm not a coffee drinker, and I feel like a lot of people go to Dunkin' for their coffee now.
Mhm.
And if I want a donut, I don't I don't really eat donuts that much, but I'd probably go to Krispy Kreme over Dunkin' if I'm being honest.
Ooh. I mean, I'm from Massachusetts, and that just, oof. I I'm in like one of the smaller towns in my state, and there's 5 Dunkins in my town, or
Oh
6.
yeah, that's definitely an East Coast thing for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, well, the Krispy Kreme. I mean, Krispy Kreme is pretty ridiculously good too. To be fair, I mean, all right. And Ali, how did you get into running?
Yeah, so neither of my parents ran in college. They both played basketball.
Mhm,
So that really wasn't a factor. Like my mom ran in high school, but it wasn't like a have to continue the family tradition or anything. But as a young child, I would always go to these kids run for fun things in our town, and they are basically where you would go every Friday night to a track in town and you would sprint a lap around the track with your age group. And I remember I would be like in the 5-year-old age group and I would want to run also with the 6-year-olds and the 7-year-olds and the 8-year-olds and just keep going. And I really just found joy in running. And I also was very an active kid. I played basketball and soccer too, and just loved running in those sports as well. And so I think just from a young age, always loved running and being active. And then when junior high came around and cross country was the first sport you could try out for, I went out for it and then kind of fell in love from there.
Yeah, and as you did basketball through the years, was there any pressure for you just to go to running, or?
Yeah, I think a lot of people questioned why I continued to do basketball in high school since running was what I was gonna go do in college. And I love basketball so much because of the team aspect, which you don't always get in running. It can sometimes be such an individual sport. And so getting to be on a team and step onto the court with 5 people and, be able to count on one another and not always have so much pressure on yourself. It's a really nice little break from running, and I'm just so fortunate that I stuck with it for all 4 years.
Yeah, and how hard was it to manage both running and basketball?
It was definitely manageable, but it definitely took a lot of discipline because it would take getting up at, 5 a.m. in the mornings to go to an indoor track and do a workout and then come back home and go to school all day and then have basketball practice or even a game. And sometimes the games would be away and we'd get home at like 10 p.m. and then I'd still have homework to do and I'd be up late, and then you have to get up back at 5 a.m. to get your run in before school. And so I mean, I love every second of it, and you have to since it's a big challenge, but it definitely was nice when, not that I wanted basketball to be over, but when it was, it's nice to not have to get up at 5 a.m. anymore. But it definitely took a lot, but I enjoyed it, and I think it paid off for indoor season.
Yeah, and the last question I got for you is, what is your career high in basketball?
My career I think it's 19 points. I could never get over that 20 mark barrier. There were like 3 or 4 games where I was at 19, and I don't think I've ever gotten over 20 points. So yeah, 19 is the career high.
More of a lockdown defender?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely defense is probably the strong suit, or I'm probably better at defense, but yeah, also can hopefully cause some havoc on offense.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast, and thank you everyone for watching. Till our next lap. See ya.